This is the last video in this series, and in this video I only want to do one thing, and that's to show you how to put the Apple logo on the top face of this body. So I'm going to select this item and then isolate it because that's the only one we want to see for now. Right, so I need a sketch, or I need the actual logo to appear on the bottom. There are two streams or two avenues I'm going to show you how to use. One is the Solidworks one, so I'll start with that one. So I'm going to go to the top view. In fact, I'm in this case I'm actually going to hide this item as well. Then when we exit isolate, we can, yeah. All right, so let's go to the top view, and I'm going to hit a sketch, and then I want a sketch picture. So picture. And this will take me to my folders, and I've got an image of an Apple logo, which you can get off off Google or wherever you want to get it from. It doesn't have to be this logo; it can be any logo you want. But this is a nice sort of organically difficult logo, so it's a good one to show you. So as usual, you can drag the scaling bar to the left-hand side. When you scale it to the right-hand side and let go, you can put in the dimension. So I know this needs to be about 15, possibly less, but I'm going to make it 15 millimeters. So that's going to disappear for a second. Just zoom out. And then I could drag this to the 0 point. It's easier just to type in what I want. So half of 15 is 7.5. So I'm going to say minus 7.5 and then minus 7.5 again. And then it will have dropped that logo in place. Now, I also know that this has got to be rotated by 90 degrees so that it's facing that direction. And then we might need to adjust these as well. So I'm going to leave it there for now just to get the picture. Okay, so there are two things you can do here. The one is just to trace by hand. That seems to be the best way in SolidWorks. The other way is also to get an add-in called Auto Trace. Now, Auto Trace, I can't get it to work properly, but I'll show you how to get it in. So you go to Tools and you go to Add-ins at the bottom, and then Auto Trace, if it's not already activated, it's these two buttons over here. You may need to restart SolidWorks. I'm not sure, to get it to work. The way you know it works or not is if you double click. I'm still in the sketch environment. If you double click on this picture, if you have, no, that's right. If you have these two arrows, then that means Auto Trace has been activated. If they are not there, then Auto Trace has not been activated. Go to the next button, and here you can select what you want to auto trace. So you have to use one of these selection tools. You can select parts of the image if you want. That's why these exist. So I'm simply going to do a square all the way around, and you say begin trace, and then you can adjust according to how you think this thing might work. In this case, I cannot get this logo to actually do anything other than be what you see here. So I don't find that useful. You can say apply. All right, so I don't find that useful. The other way, of course, is to exit the sketch. I would exit the sketch, and then I would actually create a new sketch on top of that one. So go to the top view, sketch, and then you would use splines. One of the splines, you could use a style spline. I can't remember which one's going to be most optimal. Could be the Bezier. Yeah, I think the Bezier is probably going to be the easiest. So I'm not going to do this in detail. I'm going to create a sort of a much shortened version of it. I can see already that this is not going to be ideal. So that's one part, and then all right, and then we'll do the leaf as well. probably easier to use just a straight spline and then manipulate it. So these two should be closed, I think. Okay, so in fact, let's go back into that sketch. Edit sketch, and I want to drag this backwards by about 30 millimeters. Go to those. There we go, 10, 20. I'll keep going backwards. So about 30, 33, somewhere around there. Say OK. Right, so we're going to exit isolate, and then I'm going to just isolate this item here. All right, so with that sketch selected, you can now wrap it onto the surface. So the command is over here, it's wrap. You'll have three options. You can emboss, which is where you bring something out, deboss, which is where you push something down, or you can scribe, which is just putting the sketch onto the surface. Make sure you use the second one here, the spline surface, and then make sure that you choose the correct face. So you can select an inside face if you wanted to, or you can select an outside face, and then make sure the depth is what you want. So that's 0.2 millimeters, and the pull direction is very important. So if you select the incorrect pull direction, let's select the right one. It'll do it for you, but I'll show you what it does. It seems that maybe the sketch is not properly from intersecting. Okay, so I have a sketch problem. So I'm going to have to go into the sketch quickly and edit the sketch. So it seems quite likely that I will need to connect corner that one with that one. Seems not. Just drag these points around. Ah, there we go. So that one there is not connected to there, and now it is. So that was the problem. Let's try that again. So we're going to go to wrap. That's the sketch I want, and I want it to go onto this surface. And the pull direction, deliberately I'm going to make it the wrong one just to show you what happens. Maybe too high, so it doesn't like that. Okay, it has done it, but you can see it's actually gone kind of sliced this in the wrong direction. It's gone off to the right, and we've got massive undercuts. We've got a big problems. So just watch out for that your pull direction is perpendicular to the actual sketch. So in this case, that would be the top plane. Say yes, and there, that's done it. Okay, so that's kind of not in the right position either, but never mind, because I'm going to show you another way of doing this. So let's hide that. So I'm going to go into Rhino, and I'm going to pull in a plugin in Rhino as well. So to do that, the easiest way to do it is to use what's called is Package Manager, P-A-C-K, Package Manager. Type that in the command line, and then Package Manager will go and fetch all of the available packages or add-ins, both the free ones and the paid ones, that you can get from Food for Rhino. So these are just the A's, or there's the B's. Okay, so you can type the one you want in here. So I'm going to say I want Vectorize. That's the one you're looking for. Vectorize the available ones, and then just type in here Vectorize to get the one that you're going to need. Vector, wait for it to search for it. So it's not the image vectorizer, it's this one here. You say install. Mine's installed already, so it's not going to be a problem. But you will get this. You should get a message saying you need to restart Rhino. I don't need to. Change it to detected that cannot be completed while Rhino is open. Please restart Rhino. So you'll have to restart. I don't need to, as far as I know. I'm going to go to the top view because that's where this works best. And then all you do is you type in vectorize. Vectorize again. and that'll take you straight to your last file location or your folder location. And mine is over here, mouse, and it's this images, and it's that Apple logo, right? So that'll bring this item in, and it'll straight away trace it for you. You don't have to do any work whatsoever. It'll give you the optimum settings. You can change them if you want, like that's at 94 at the moment. If I drag this down, you can see it does a few weird things with the ends. So I'm going to leave this at 94. I would leave the settings exactly as they are, especially the tolerance. You want it to be at maximum, which is 1, and say OK. You can also include the border. I don't want to, so say OK. And then we've got a pretty clean shape. So I need to reduce the scale of this, so I'm going to put in just a kind of a guide block here, rectangle. And I'm going to make this 15 and hold the shift button down, and then we'll get a square. So this item is currently grouped, so I can just drag this. I'm going to use the move button. And the great thing about Rhino is that you can, as long as you've got your perpendicular snap selected, you can go to the sort of closest edge, get it to snap, do the same thing again, closest edge, get it to snap, but also drag along, and it'll go back to where it was before. So that's like located with the 0 point in mind. And now I can scale it by going from the 0 point to the highest point, and then just pulling this down to roughly within that square. Okay, so I don't need the square anymore. I can delete it. This is basically the right size, but also I do want to rotate it by 90 degrees and just drag it somewhere around there in the middle. That's just so I have less work to do inside Solidworks, and moving things around is much easier in Rhino than in Solidworks. So with that done, I need to first ungroup it. So it's Control-Shift-G, I think. Ungroup. Okay, so just make sure you've got 2 items in here, 1, 2. Make sure you've selected them both. Then you type in export. And then you'll get to a place where you want to export it. So I've got a folder here. And then make sure that you select DXF. And then you can give it a name. So I've already got one in here. I'm going to overwrite this Apple logo. And then you'll get this export options dialog. It should default to something like R12 natural. Okay, you don't want that. What you want to do is click on edit schemes, and then under this, make sure that it selects release 14. It's the only one that's going to work. Not release 12, not any of the others. Release 14. The reason release 14 is important is because if you go to the next tab on, you can change all of these ones here to splines, which you can't do in any of the other versions. So select splines for all of these, other than the first one. All right, so that's for this case, for this kind of case. This is not going to work the same for every case, but for this case where we've got lots of splines, okay? Then I would save it, save as, and give it a name. I've already got mine saved as splines. I've just called it splines. So mine will overwrite. I'll just show you how to do it. Overwrite, and then close. And then make sure that your export scheme is at splines, and you say OK. And then it will have saved it for you in that folder. So back to Solidworks. I'm going to do the same thing again, but this time we can export. So I'm going to select the top view. Now you can't put a sketch in, you have to just select the top plane, sorry. Go to insert and then say DXF. DXF won't export to a sketch. You have to select a plane to put it on. And then go back to that one there. There's my DXF file. I think I've been through this with you before. You're going to import it as a 2D sketch. You go to next. Make sure, very important, that you select millimeters. You can leave the layers as they are. You can say next. You can see it's going to locate it exactly according to how I set it up in Rhino. Here's the origin point. Say finish. It should import this as a very clean, there we go, very clean set of curves. I could have reduced the complexity here if I wanted to, but that's for another lesson. And then I want to move this item, so let's just go like this. And I want to move this item, so move entities. I'm going to make it about 40, I think. It should be right. Okay, and then exit sketch, and then so from here it's going to be the same as before. Let's first suppress that one so that it's no longer visible. Select the sketch. Right, it might be too far back, but the same principles apply. I'm going to isolate this so that I can't make a mistake, and then I'm going to select the sketch and say wrap, or you can select wrap and then select the sketch. Either way is good, and make sure it's on the deboss side, that you select this face, or we could put on the other face if you want. Just to show you, you don't have to select the outside face, but I do want it on the outside face. Pull direction. You could leave it empty. I think it'll read it as the top view in this case, and then how thick you want it or how deep you want it. And then you can adjust the accuracy. I don't think in this case it's going to make any difference. Let's see. Okay, and there we go. We've got this item in place. All right, so it might be a bit large for this item. For this particular mouse, that should be much smaller as far as I can remember. It looks way too large, but at least you've got an idea of how to do it. All right, thanks for watching.